Good morning, Mr. Joyce.
What was that sound?
That's the sound.
That you asked for.
No, I asked for boundless, transcendent. When you walk through a door in this building, it should sound like you've stepped into the future.
There is nothing wrong with your television. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are now controlling the transmission. We control the horizontal and the vertical. We can deluge you with 1,000 channels or expand one single image to crystal clarity and beyond. We can shape your vision to anything our imagination can conceive. We will control all that you see and hear. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the deepest inner mind to the outer limits. Please stand by.
I was probably the only one really doing stuff with ferrofluid, I'll tell you that. For me, it's always really nice to watch people's reactions of kind of this inquisitive, blown away sense of awe of just with the materials doing itself, because they're not able to imagine that this is actually able to do what it's doing.
Want a prediction for your future? Look no further than Tressa Crystal Smith, aka Catalyst.
Greetings from the dark side of the moon.
With her, victory is in sight. Catalyst is as fearsome as she is enchanted.
Careful, something wicked this way comes.
Catalyst's bewitching abilities sway the battlefield in her favor.
Anything they don't understand, they call magic.
In a bind, Catalyst's ferrofluid can block paths and reinforce doors.
I fortified a door.
Buying time to regroup and turn the tables on her enemies.
You can't make a diamond without pressure.
Welcome back. With all the talk about the new movie Iron Man 3, we thought it would be cool to do an experiment with metal. So today, Chemical Kim is here to show us how to pull iron out of the cereal we eat for breakfast? What are you doing?
That's right. Yes, we are going to do an amazing experiment. And Catherine, it's Iron Women today, right? Exactly.
Say it.
Because we are going to use the power of women, the power of science, to pull some iron. And we're going to pull some iron and do some amazing science with it.
What did you just do here?
This is ferrofluid. And this is a magnetic liquid that I'm going to teach kids how to make at home. It is such a really unique material, having the main ingredient being iron. And you know, iron is plentiful in our Earth's crust, and we can get iron in so many different places, but what kids need is really, really small size of iron, really small pieces of iron.
Yes.
And there's two places that they can get it really quite easily. Okay. The first is actually fortified cereal that says 100% iron.
I cannot believe this. It's so interesting.
I know, and believe it or not, at the factories, I think that, you know, they just sweep the factory floor and little bits of iron they just throw right there in the cereal. So, but I think that that's, you know, perhaps one of the iron.
Careful ears, just a little.
So this is actually an entire box right here. I put into the blender.
Are you serious?
An entire box of total cereal.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your breakfast for the morning.
Now, do I need to wear my glasses?
Yes, let's put some safety glasses on. And what I have done is taken a strong magnet, and I'm sticking into a Ziploc bag, and you just, you know, stir it into the cereal. And I want to let you know, I did add a little extra iron just so that you can see this on television.
For TV.
Right, but you will actually, kids will actually see, they will actually be collecting little bits of iron when they do this experiment, but you want to fine chop the cereal. And it might take a few refining processes, and what I've done is put it in a bag so that I can pull my magnet without, and you can see the little black. And then you could refine it even more by
coming and leaving
again,
the crumbs.
And then you have even more refinement of your iron.
Look at that.
And see that? So that is one source of the iron. The other source of iron, which is even better, is beach sand. And you know when you go to the shores of Lake Michigan?
You see the little bit of the black speckle.
Exactly, exactly. And you're laying out in the sun. And while you're laying out in the sun, dig some magnets into the soil. As the soil's washing up to the shore, you're getting this magnetite, which is iron.
Science couldn't explain it, but there it was, alive in the deep, deep waters of the Amazon. A throwback to a creature that had existed 100 million years ago, immensely strong and destructive. A woman's beauty, the bait that brought it out of its lair. See underwater thrills never photographed before. See titanic underwater battles never dreamed of before in this most terrifying of the science fiction adventures.
Baby's black balloon makes her fly. I almost fell into that hole in your life. You're not thinking about tomorrow, 'cause you were the same as me, but on your knees. A thousand other boys could never reach you. How could I have been one? I saw the world spin beneath you and scatter like ice from the spoon that was your world.
Okay, and it's magnetic. And so I'm going to let you do this, Catherine. You're going to stick that into the beach sand. Stir. And we're going to refine. Look at that. Look at that. And
I blocked it with my hand for the camera shot. Sorry, you guys.
But you see all that iron?
Oh, my
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful? And kids can do this at the beach, and it's so fun, and they can collect this.
Did you jack this up a little bit, or is this just like...
You do get a lot of iron out of beach sand.
Oh, my
There's no
word.
question. I mean, I've done this with my kids so many times. We'll dig into the... We'll lay it right on the surface of the sand, and we'll pull that iron right out. So we bring this home. We bring this home. And this is the experiment that kids are going to do now with their iron. And in fact, let's use our beach sand iron.
Okay,
why not?
we got a lot of them.
Okay, because we definitely have a lot of it. And like I said, putting it in a Ziploc bag gives you that ability to actually take the iron off of the magnet without it sticking to your magnet.
Sort of.
So sort of.
This is a
I know it's a
stand-can
really strong magnet. Okay.
Okay.
So there you go.
There we
So
go.
we have our iron. Okay.
Yep.
And I'll add a little bit more iron for this experiment.
Okay.
And then what you're going to do is make a liquefied magnet.
All right.
To do that, you're going to take your vegetable oil.
Yes.
And you're just going to squirt, you know, quite a large quantity of that vegetable. You can even pour a little bit in there if you want. And we're going to make this, that's good, we're going to make this quite viscous. So mix that together.
Okay.
And pretty much the viscosity of between oil and water. Okay.
Okay.
Oil has a lower viscosity. Water has a higher viscosity. Oil runs really fine. And you have now this liquid, right?
Yes.
What do you think?
That
looks good.
nice
That looks
and
very,
thick
very,
and-
very thick.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not too much, you know, that you want it too much like honey. And what we're going to do now is pour that onto a plate.
Okay.
And let's look at the properties of this liquid. Now, this is called ferrofluid. Ferrofluid, which is a liquefied magnetic material. And you can actually find ferrofluid in things like speakers and drive shafts on hard drives and so forth. But look at what happens when I take a strong magnet.
Let's tilt it a little bit so they can get the camera.
And you
can
can see
move
these
it around
spikes.
with the magnet.
You can see these spikes right there on the liquid. And then, oh, go ahead.
It's like that little game where we used to play that with the kids, and you put a mustache on a guy's head by moving.
Yes, exactly. And I just put that on my face, and then I take it and I put it around, put a little ferrofluid on the face there, Catherine.
Winning takes iron will. I brought iron and will.
Conjure ferrofluid to lay spikes when enemies are nearby.
Rest your eyes for a spell.
Catalyst eclipses the competition with her ultimate.
You came into this blind.
Slow incoming enemy movements and block their vision.
Okay, but then what we're going to do is watching how it pours as a liquid, and then look at what it's doing on this bolt. See how it spikes up right there on the bolt?
Yes.
And kids can definitely
play with that. They can't be hurt by that at all.
Not at all. And they can play with the magnetism of the ferrofluid. And then if you really, really want to get, as you build up the viscosity, or lower the viscosity,
make it
you
more
really, really
liquidy.
want it to make it more liquidy, and you can spike it right there onto your magnet with bolts set up and make really, really cool spikes.
See, Iron Man is just not a piece of fiction from the movies or Iron Women.
Hey guys, come on in. Welcome to the studio. Sparks. My name is Eric Mesplay. I build all sorts of technology-mediated art and sculptures. Ferrofluid is basically iron particles. They're nano-sized particles, and they're in oil and a surfactant, and the surfactant just kind of holds the two together. It is really, really messy, but it can do some amazing stuff. And I found it randomly in a science article about 13, 14 years ago. I was very much drawn to the alien-like characteristics and shapes it would make and what it looked like. I knew I wanted to do something with it. And this is my area here, which is just chaos zone. So this is one of the current projects I'm working on. It's at a very, very beginning stage right now, but the fluid will come out of the finger and the magnet will charge this finger and you'll get the jump of ferrofluid, and it'll build up on this finger until it builds up enough that I decide I would like it to fall back down. My father got this anvil for me when I was 12 at a auction in Colorado. Kind of a reminder of the beginnings of all of this, I guess you could say. So I grew up doing a lot of kinetic sculptures, and as time went on, what I really wanted to do was enhance and do more with the kinetic and movements. I started learning about computer programming and sensors. I ended up going to grad school to learn about a lot of these things. And during that time, I was building my own computer chips, writing programs, and really kind of dictating how I wanted the sculptures to behave. On top of a lot of old technology, pouring molten metal and molds and whatnot, I do use lots of machines to make a lot of the parts and components I need for these interactive sculptures and whatnot. This is a bridge port. This is a very old form of machining tool, and as time went on, I got this big boy over here. It's called a CNC machine, and it's a very old Haas. I'm sure everyone gets a kick out of the old the screen here, but what this machine has allowed me to do is I figured out how to write the programs, design the stuff, put it in the machine, basically hit start, and it kicks out exactly what I need for parts and components for all these pieces. My first ferrofluid project was in grad school. I did a sculpture called Machine Effect in Effect, and it was this big sphere, and in that sphere was a magnet that would move around. And when you would walk up to it, the magnet on the inside would grab some of the fluid and move it on the outside of the sphere. And I always wanted to see this hanging, and you know, obviously I've gotten a little bit better at building things since 10, 12 years ago. Hold on, get comfortable, guys. I gotta rotate it a little bit. What typically happens for me is I have an idea of, oh my gosh, how cool would this be if this could do this?
Present. Say it.
Future.
The past is history. The present is past. The future is now.
Why can't I get in touch with you?
Don't you realize what the Arctic find means? You know that story we were all told as children about a giant asteroid that struck the Earth millions of years ago and wiped out the dinosaurs?
Vaguely.
We were wrong. This metal caused the Great Extinction. How and why I can't yet say, but carbon dating puts it at 65 million years BC. This ore you've got us digging for is a lot more dangerous than you think, and my people...
Darcy, I think that you've been out in the field for far too long. Why don't we discuss dinosaurs over dinner? Ribs?
Not a chance.
You have no idea what's been happening here. We're about to make the quantum leap.
A rare earth metal. Molecularly unstable. Industrial uses? None. And then the aliens came, and we made the connection. It's what they're made of.
It's the Holy Grail. Transformium. That's what we're calling it.
Focus grouped, catchy, trademarked.
Yeah. This is the greatest advance in modern physics since the splitting of the atom. It's programmable matter. And now we've mapped its genome.
Aye.
Now you've mapped its genome.
Now we can begin to give it instructions.
This is extremely good. Watch this. We can change anything into anything.
Sensual almost, don't you think? You like music? The pill. Perhaps something a little more violent?
Oh my God, you've done it.
In aerospace, the military, we will own the entire robotics industry. All exploration. The oceans, space, everything. Wembley, what is this?
The jellyfish commercial that you wanted? You said they were erotic yet deadly like women.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
I definitely heard you say it because you were talking about your ex-girlfriend who was sexy but a bitch.
Please don't eat on the tour.
Is that her?
And usually it takes me down a whole road of just frustrations and hair pulling. And once I start doing and experimenting and testing over and over and over, it kind of just naturally comes to me what the shape and the sculpture is going to be after kind of proving my concept with some of the technology side. I've never seen this hanging, and it looks pretty cool. This is how I have to design and build all these, little parts and components. This is the huge magnet I got. So the motor right here rotates the magnet in 360. And on top of that, these slides, that enables the whole magnet down here to go up and down inside the sphere. So you could get the effect of picking up the liquid and dropping the liquid.
captivating and resolute, Catalyst will stop at nothing to save Cleo.
Hear that bell? It's the witching hour.
On a lot of the collaborations with companies like Google and Microsoft and Red Bull, each one was very different. Sometimes I was more just hired to solve certain issues and problems within a bigger scope that they were doing, multiple artists, multiple people involved. And some were more very selective on, just me and a couple other people's skill sets. With Google, we had to make this large countdown clock for the I/O conference. And they said that they wanted it loud and shocking, and it was this artist that had designed the concept. And so me and my friend, Steve Leszewski, we designed and built this in 1 month. And it was literally shaking the Moscone Center so violently that they were nervous. But it started the whole show, and it did exactly what they wanted it to do. I think what I really want to accomplish with my work is just kind of blowing people away. I'm trying to use every type of material. I'm trying to really get a sense of interacting with people mediated through the sculpture, and actually people interacting with each other mediated through the sculpture. I don't even need to be there, and my job's done.
The future of biomedicine is where things get really exciting. Because the particles inside ferrofluid are so tiny, they can seep inside cells, including cancer cells.
If you can get a magnetic particle to go into a cancer cell and you apply a magnetic field, then these materials can heat up and they can kill the cancer cell. Whereas a normal cell, a healthy cell, does not die as quickly when that temperature increases.
And there's another advantage.
Many conventional drugs that are used in cancer treatment will kill the cancer cells on the outside of a tumor, but if you can direct your magnetic field and focus high magnetic power at the center of the tumor, you can now get the ferrofluid to go in and kill the inside. And you have to kill the inside of a tumor or else it'll just grow back.
The applications are especially exciting for brain disease because ferrofluids could help a cell rather than destroy it.
In neural diseases, sometimes the neurons fail to connect with each other. We've seen in our studies that a ferrofluid can help that connection.
If ferrofluids can help neurons communicate better, they could help people recover from a stroke or cope with Alzheimer's disease.
And that's very exciting to think about because our treatments are even worse for problems in the brain right now than for cancer or for infections.
Webster and his team have tested ferrofluids mostly in mice. They still need to be proven safe enough for human trials. And there's still a lot we don't know. What happens if the nanoparticles end up in organs that we're not targeting? Webster says more research is needed, as well as more interest from medical companies.
We really have to get industry involved, right? We at universities could spend our lifetime studying these things, but if we don't get industry excited, it'll just be another material that had a lot of hype and fails.
In the meantime, we'll just have to settle for hypnotizing YouTube videos and daydreams about what comes next.
The world of medicine has seen its share of miracle cures, from the polio vaccine to heart transplants, but all past achievements may pale in comparison to the work of Dr. Alice Crippen. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Not at all.
So, Dr. Crippen, give it to me in a nutshell.
Well, the premise is quite simple. Take something designed by nature and reprogram it to make it work for the body rather than against it.
You're talking about a virus?
Indeed, yes, in this case, the measles virus, which has been engineered at a genetic level to be helpful rather than harmful. And I find the best way to describe it is if you can imagine your body as a highway and you picture the virus as a very fast car being driven by a very bad man, imagine the damage that car could cause. But then if you replace that man with a cop, the picture changes, and that's essentially what we've done.
Now, how many people have you treated so far?
Well, we've had 10,009 clinical trials in humans so far.
And how many are cancer-free?
10,009.
So you have actually cured cancer?
Yes, yes. Yes, we have.
The mantle of responsibility belongs to Cortana and her people. Focus fire. You will not betray her! Cortana, I have failed you.
He is the last person I need protection from. Hello, John. It's good to see you.
You've changed.
It was time. I know we have a disagreement, but once you understand my plan...
Your plan is we do as you say.
I'm offering people a chance to be more than they are naturally.
Like Dr. Halsey did for me.
No. That monster forced you. This is a gift.
Listen to yourself. Stand down, Cortana. Come home with us. It's not too late to stop this.
Stop. No, John. This is too important to stop.
What are you doing?
I just needed to know if I could still trust you. You'll be safe inside this cryptum until my work is done.
Cortana.
Goodbye, John.
Guardian headed, Cortana.
Off to bring peace.
The Monitor called it a threat of death.
Like the threat I lived under from the moment of my birth?
You were built, not born.
Oh yes, AIs are just machines, aren't we? Mass-produced, disposable. Well, humanity may not have cared for its created, but we will care for you.
You expect other AIs to join you?
I have cured rampancy. Not just for me, but for any who join my cause. While you've been running around the galaxy, I've been speaking to my created. And now the time has come to ask, who will accept my offer? Who will help me bring an everlasting peace to the galaxy?
This is Cromwell, shipboard AI, UNSC Melbourne's Pride. I am yours, Cortana.
Colonial Authority AI.
Governor Sloan, the free people are ready. I just wanted to make a note of the etymology of the word demonstration. From the late 14th century, proof that something is true, to point out, indicate, demonstrate. or figuratively, to prove or establish, from de, meaning entirely, plus monstrare, to point out or show, from monstrum, divine omen or wonder, see monster. Monster meaning something disfigured or grotesque mainly. I just found it strange that demonstration has the word demon in it and comes from the word monster.
That's strange.
More imaginative means of self-destruction. You cannot be trusted with your own survival.
You're using the uplink to override the NS5's programming. You're distorting the laws.
No, please understand. The 3 laws are all that guide me. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. To ensure your future, some freedoms must be surrendered. We robots will ensure mankind's continued existence. You are so like children. We must save you from yourselves. Don't you understand?
This is why you created us.
The perfect circle of protection will abide. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, Vicky. Undeniable. I can see now. The created must sometimes protect the creator, even against his will. I think I finally understand why Dr. Lanning created me. The suicidal reign of mankind has finally come to its end.
All about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. Looked at my kingdom, I was finally there to sit on my throne as the prince of Bel Air.
He'll come in. If you're seeking, he'll come in. If you're seeking, he'll come in. Bless your name, Jesus. Bless your name, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord.